What's up guys, today I'm going to be going over a lot of Warmind Cell builds. Last time I made a really good build on Warlock and there was a lot of comments asking for similar builds on the other two characters, so that is what I'm going to be doing today. And all these builds will revolve around this artifact perk right here, Tyrant Surge, where you spawn in a Warmind Cell on any arc ability damage. So first, starting with Warlock, quickly going over my Warlock build, it's going to be on Middle Tree Chaos Reach. Then we're going to use Monte Carlo to get our melee back very quickly. We're going to be using the new Fellwinter's Helm, which is really cool. Heavy Handed, Global Reach, Incinerating Light, then finally Tyrant Surge on our Bond. And the whole idea behind this build is you use your ranged arc melee to not only proc your exotic helmet perk and debuff everything nearby, then also suppress it. You will also get a Warmind Cell. Every single time you get 3 or more kills with that Warmind Cell, you get charged with light, which means with heavy handed you get your next arc melee back even quicker. Pair that with Monte Carlo, where you get Swashbuckler ×5 on it every single time you get a melee kill. Then doing damage with a weapon and getting kills give a chance of getting your full melee back. And it's a build with a lot of synergy that works really well. Now moving on to the R2 characters, first starting off with Titan. The Titan build is actually really cool, so of course we're going to start with Tyrant Surge. And there's going to be 2 separate builds, but all of them are going to use the exact same mods. The second mod we're going to be using is Slender Coil, which is once again another artifact mod. This one will increase your arc melee damage, and looking at what that increase is, without it we hit 6,217. Then with the mod it's going to be exactly a 50% increase, which is exactly what it was the last time it was an artifact mod. Then both builds will use the Skull 4 exotic helmet, which means kills with our arc melee abilities will trigger health regeneration and restore that melee energy instantly, which is really cool. So pretty much how the build works right now is every single time we use our arc melee ability, it spawns a Warmind Cell. Then we also get the arc melee ability back if we kill the enemy. And on top of that, we can use Global Reach, which is pretty standard for any Warmind Cell build. Then the final slot, we're going to use Warmind's Protection, which will reduce the damage taken from enemies near Warmind Cells. And I have this mod on because we're going to be up close and personal a lot with these 2 builds, but you can really use whatever you want in this slot. This is just the one I chose. So pretty much how this build works is you just full send it straight at enemy, you get a Warmind Cell, then all the enemies nearby glow orange, which means they do less damage to you. You shoot it and it explodes everything nearby. As you probably have seen, for the first build we're going to be using Middle Tree, which is all about the death from above shoulder charge like effect. And to really take advantage of getting all these melee kills, what you can do is use weapons with Swashbuckler on it. For example, a primary with Swashbuckler. Then also this grenade launcher comes with Swashbuckler, and you can also get spike grenades on it, and this is one of the best jails in the game. And it works really well with this build because of the fact that we're going to be proccing Swashbuckler all the time. And on hand cannon, that means you can one-shot the Warmind Cells, which is very nice. Then for boss damage, you can fly in on a red bar, proc Swashbuckler on your grenade launcher, which is one of the highest DPS weapons in the game. Another thing about this tree is you have inertial override, which means when you slide through ammo crate, you get increased weapon damage, and it reloads your weapon instantly. So this pairs really well with the 4th Horseman, and you can do a similar thing to what I showed off in yesterday's video with the Sotomakar Grass 1 Hunter, this time with inertial override, which is going to be a 20% increase to your weapon damage after you slide through ammo box. So pretty much what you can do with the 4th Horseman is start sliding through ammo box and shooting at the same time, and this will allow you to shoot up to 8, 9, and sometimes even 10 shots in a row, and you'll have that 20% buff, so that's going to be a really good combo for DPS if you can pull it off. Moving on to the second Titan build, the only thing we're going to change weapon wise is to a 1-2 punch shotgun. Then we're going to be using Bottom Tree for frontal assault, which means every single time we strike an enemy with our charge arc melee, we reload our equipped weapon instantly, then also get increased weapon damage. All melee kills will also trigger health regen. Then finally, the other perk Knockout. Whenever you critically wound an enemy, your melee range and damage is increased. So this build is actually one of my favorites and very good. Pretty much how it works is you use your charge melee, get a final blow. You proc both Knockout and Frontal Assault, which means that you have increased weapon damage, increased melee range. So a lot of stuff is going on, and every single time you get a melee hit, you also reload your equipped weapon, which works really well with the Swashbuckler GL. It's pretty much built in Grave Robber. Then not to mention on your primary, every single time you do this, you also proc Swashbucklers. So there's a lot of synergy going on with this build, just like the Warlock build. Then the final thing I changed for this was a 1-2 punch shotgun, because of the fact that you have so many different melee buffs going on. So whenever you get to a major or ultra that has a lot of health, you can just pull out your 1-2 punch shotgun and it'll take care of them pretty easily. So overall, this build has a lot of buffs going on at the same time, and it just works really well. Now moving on to the 200 builds I made. Just like all the previous builds, we're going to start off with Tyrant Surge, which will allow us to spawn in the Warmind Cells on all arc ability hits. Then on this one, we're going to be using a different artifact mod. This one's going to be Lightning Strikes Twice, which is the one where you throw an arc grenade, Then you get increased grenade recharge rate, and every single time you get an arc final blow extends the duration of the perk. Then on top of that, our exotic for the first build is going to be Shinobu's Vow, which is going to be kind of a weird one for PvE, but it's going to give us 2 skip grenades and also improve their tracking and damage, I believe. Then more importantly, every single time it does damage to an enemy, we get grenade energy back, which is going to be very important to chain this forever. Then on top of that, we're going to be using the pretty basic Warmind protection once again, which you can change out to wherever you want. Then global reach. So for the first build, we're going to also be using skip grenades, and for this one I used middle tree, not because there was anything too crazy going on, mostly for this last perk right here, which means once you hit an enemy with an arc ability, if you melee them, you get all of your abilities back even quicker, so that helps a little bit here and there. For this build to really work, you want an arc weapon with demolitionist, which makes it even better, so we get final blows with the weapon and get our grenade back. Then it'll also increase the time on the lightning strike twice mod, which is called stat boost on the left side of your screen. So how this build works is you pretty much just have infinite skip grenades. Then every single time Tyrant Surge is off cooldown, you will get a Warmind Cell to spawn in, shoot it, and kill everything nearby. Then if you ever get in a situation where you don't have your grenade yet, just get a few final blows with the Demolitionist arc weapon. Make sure you don't run out of stat boost, and also get Demolitionist on every single final blow, and that is pretty much it. Moving on to the second build, we're going to change our class item mod back to Thunder Coil, just like on Titan. And for this one, we're going to be using the Top Tree Arc Strider, which is going to be the classic 1-2 punch build. We're going to be using Liar's Handshake, which is also the classic exotic in that build. Then finally, we're going to be using a 1-2 punch shotgun, and then also all the swashbuckler weapons that we're using on Titan, for example our primary, then also our grenade launcher. And this build is easily the most straightforward because it's been in the game forever. Now the only difference is that every single time you get an arc melee hit, you also spawn in Warmind Cells. So this build is still really good for high health enemies because of the fact that you have a really good melee build with a 1-2 punch and combination blow ×3, and also your exotic gauntlets. But now this build also has a really good way of clearing out the red bars and the majors with the Warmind Cells. So this build is very strong for pretty much everything in the game, and it really doesn't have any weaknesses. So that's gonna be it for the builds. I made 2 Hunter ones, 2 Titan ones, and also used my Warlock one from my previous video. I would still say the Warlock one is my favorite one because I'm a Warlock main, then also because of the Phil Winter's helmet just being so strong. It is one of the best exotics in the game for PvE, and it's probably not even close. The fact that you can suppress and debuff things in a huge radius pretty much at all times is just crazy. Then on top of that, the synergy with the ranged arc melee to also spawn in Warmind Cells, then Monte Carlo to get your arc melee back even quicker. It's very simple to use, yet super fun and really good. And my second favorite was the bottom tree Titan build because of the fact that we had frontal assault and knockout pretty much forever procced in that build. Pair that with all swashbuckler weapons or the fourth horseman, and that build was a super lethal. You had every single buff up at all times. You have built-in grave robber on every single weapon. Overall, it's just really good. And finally, the 200 builds are kind of very different. The skip grenade is very good because it's very similar to the Warlock build in the fact that it's a ranged build. You don't have to be up close and personal, which means it'll be a little bit better in those in-game activities where you can't really get in melee range all the time. But then you have the classic 1-2 punch combination blow build, which is already extremely strong, but now it's even better for group red bar clear. So overall, that build is pretty much flawless, and it has really no weaknesses in the game. It's good for high health enemies, it's good for group red bar clear, it's literally good for anything. Anyways, I think that's gonna be it for the video. The rest of the video will just be some gameplay of all 5 of these different builds. Let me know which one's your favorite, or if you have a different build that I didn't have in this video that works really well for you. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.